Early recovery is one of the toughest things that you'll ever face. And it's not just about saying no to drugs and alcohol. It's about fighting the mental obsession that won't quit, a body that's screaming for relief, and wrestling with emotions that you've been numbing for a very long time. There are definitely moments where it feels overwhelming, lonely, and sometimes downright impossible. But the good news is it won't last forever. In this video, I'm going to break down for you exactly why it feels so damn hard and how to push through it and get to the other side. For those of you who are new here, my name is Amber Hollingsworth and you are watching Put the Shovel Down. This YouTube channel is here to help you understand addiction from every angle, because the key to beating it is staying 5 steps ahead of it. And if you want to stay 5 steps ahead of it, you for sure need to understand exactly what you're dealing with, what's happening, and what's going to happen next. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, now is a good time to do that. Not only will it help you get your life and your family back on track, it'll help spread recovery to even more people. All right, let's get on with our topic. At the very core of addiction is a mental obsession that just don't go away because you decided to quit doing something. This mental battle that you're going through drains you of your willpower and your focus. It's kind of like if you've accidentally ever set off your house alarm or your car alarm and the screaming noise is just in your ears so loud you can't think about anything else. It's just like, make it stop, make it stop. That's what it feels like to be trying to ignore these mental obsessions in the early days. And unfortunately, there's even more to it. You also have the physical withdrawal part. Not only are your thoughts consumed by this addiction, but your body is actually physically craving it, which is just fueling the thoughts that much more. And you might even think, well, I'm not physically dependent on whatever it is that you're addicted to. But ask yourself this. Do you feel physically bad without it? Do you have trouble sleeping? Do you feel anxious, irritable, discontent, uncomfortable, squirmy? Any of those things? If so, you're experiencing some level of physical withdrawal. When your body's screaming at you and your thoughts are screaming at you, all of that leads to sort of like an emotional overload. All the emotions and the problems that you've been avoiding and not dealing with, they're coming to the surface at the worst possible time. There may be moments where you feel like you're just hanging on by a fingernail. But one of the best things you can do to help yourself get through this early recovery time is to keep life really simple. Because you're going to have a hard time thinking straight. You're going to have a hard time making decisions. You're not going to have motivation and energy for things. So bring it down to the basics. Don't try to conquer other problems you have in your life in this moment. You want to focus on getting through those really rough days so that you can reset your system, so that mental obsession can quiet down, your physical body can come back into alignment, and your emotions can stabilize. Now, I know a lot of you watch this channel because you have a loved one struggling with an addiction. One of the mistakes I see a lot of times family members make is when they have a loved one in early sobriety, they want to throw everything onto their plate at once. And there's a good reason for this, which is usually because the family feels like they've been holding up their end of the responsibilities for a really long time. They've been putting up with a lot, and they're ready for their loved one to get back on board. They want their loved one to get back to their A-game self, which will happen eventually. But if you throw too many things at someone in an early sobriety period, they're likely to just drop all the balls. In fact, that's one way I like to think about it. Think about it like juggling. You want to throw somebody one ball and let them juggle that, and that ball is sobriety, and do that until they get really solid and consistent with it. And then one more thing, and let them juggle those 2 balls until they get really good at that. And then you can layer in a third, and eventually they'll be back to juggling all the things that they should be juggling. In families, I know you're wanting those amends, you're wanting those admissions and acknowledgments and apologies. I'm going to strongly recommend that you not push for those in those early recovery days. Because you got to remember, you're dealing with somebody who's sort of emotionally a wreck, and they probably don't have enough stability to do a really good job of that. So the best way to help a loved one who's just beginning the journey of recovery is to help them keep life really simple. Like just taking care of the basics, like staying away from people, places, and things that'll make it harder to stay sober. Just focus on putting one foot in front of the other. If you can find a few moments where you can distract yourself from those mental obsessions, that's helpful too. Now, when you're in the middle of this storm, it feels like it's never going to feel better. And you might be thinking that sobriety sounds awful because in the beginning, it feels kind of awful. You may think you'll never have fun again. You may think life will always be boring. You may think you're always going to feel this anxious or never going to be able to sleep. But those things really do get better. So another thing you can do is just remind yourself of what is on the other side of this mountain. So if you want to know what sobriety really feels like, I want you to watch this video next. I'll put it right up here. All you have to do is click on it.